You're listening to the episode of Mr. Riley's Neighborhood. This is the place we're entitled to Brad's opinion. And now for your host, Brad Allard.
Well, we're back again. Another great week in the neighborhood or something like that. I just wish these allergies would leave the neighborhood. How about you, Jennifer?
Oh my gosh, no kidding. If I start coughing again, because it hasn't stopped in like 3 months. So.
Yeah, well, mine has been about 2 or 3 weeks of just off and on, and like several times during the day. A couple hours I'm okay, a couple hours I'm draining, a couple hours I'm okay, a couple hours I'm hacking up like a 3-pack a day.
Yep.
And it's irritating.
Every once in a while, it's just like before, because October I came in and I was coughing. That turned into pneumonia. Then I was recovering in November, and now I'm...
Well, I have the mayor on tomorrow, so I'll blame him.
Good.
For all the pollen.
Why not?
Why not? So there you go. But anyway, we're going to talk about this month's needs for Harvest House, particularly at the end of the year. You have lots going on. Your resale center is under construction still. That's one of the reasons why you had to, tarry behind a little bit to take care of some business, So that's why we're on a little bit later, but no big deal. My vast listening audience is used to being adaptable, so that's okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And actually, it's our main building, not the resale shop, that was keeping me up today.
Really? Okay.
It's a new construction project.
Oh my! What are y'all building?
We're just renovating our existing building. We got one of the ARPA grants.
Oh, good.
And so we're not, I'm super grateful for it. And so we're just able to, we're just building some more offices and kind of restructuring just a little bit. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well.
And they started basically today. So the inside part, they started today.
Yeah. But construction is always entertaining because it'll be done in a couple of weeks and 2 months later, you're still at it. And, like one of my sponsors, Gayla, at the jewelry store, she's been wanting to open up downstairs, but always something there to trip up, supply chain or labor thing or, I thought we were scheduled it for next week, but no, actually it's 2 weeks from now, on and on and on.
All right.
It's
I got to tell you, I haven't run into any of that with my amazing contractor.
Your amazing contractor.
Yes.
Well, go ahead and give him a shout out.
It's CNL Services.
Well, good for him.
It's about to be CNL Remodeling. They're renaming, but I'm telling you, they did the resale store, and Cody Hayes is like amazing.
Cody Hayes. For some reason that's a familiar name. Maybe it's in my memory somewhere, but I
think
don't know.
I think he grew up in Burleson, so maybe you taught him, but
maybe
it's very possible. But man, I'm telling you, he's an amazing contractor. We had other amazing contractors that did bids, and they would have been really awesome too. So,
well, let's give my sponsors a shout out while we're sitting here. Just being generous with all the airtime, which is fine, which is good, which is what I like. CrossFit Burleson, 317 Southwest Wilshire. I know Daniel's been busy. He's involved in some stuff. And while I'm at it, I want to also, speaking of nonprofits, Eagle's Nest down in Guatemala is having their year end. They like to have a fundraiser for a specific item. So if you want to contribute to that, it's like a piece of equipment or a vehicle or something like that, or particular healthcare issues like they had last year. They had a young boy that needed some healthcare that Guatemala could not provide. They couldn't provide it free, but it's cheaper than what we could, but it was very specialized work, so we raised money for that. But it's Eagle's Nest in Guatemala, so look at eaglesnestint.org and see how you can contribute towards the end of the year. Also, thank you to Shandy Stogstill. She'll be on next Monday. We're going to talk about real estate and all the stuff that goes with that, and we know that there's a lot of changes. I was reading an article about how the DFW market's declining. Well, you couldn't tell around here. That's all I got to say. It seems like Burleson has been, hot for quite some time now, and that isn't changing anything. Okay, and I'm almost done with these. One more share. Come on. Where's the other one? Oh, well, I'll get it later. No big deal. Anyway, thank you, Shandy, at the Stogstill Group, and she can help you move in or move out. Thank you to our place. I was there last week. I'll be there tomorrow. In fact, I'm meeting some friends for breakfast, which is the place to do it.
Right.
How many times a month do you go to our place? At least once?
Well,
Twice?
it depends.
It
Depends. At least once a quarter.
Once a quarter. Pick your game up. All right.
I know.
Yeah,
I love Otto, and
Yeah.
their food is amazing. It's just.
And he's very helpful to Harvest House.
Oh, he's great. Absolutely. I just think he's one of the nicest guys.
He is. He really is.
Super generous.
And that's why.
I was actually supposed to have lunch there today, but my person canceled on me. So I literally was going there today.
Okay. Well, that's a good enough recommendation. That counts. Yeah. But thank you, Our Place, for being a place that's where I do business. It's a good place to do. It's comfortable. And I've said this before. What I like about Our Place as much as anything else is the staff is very consistent. I mean, you go in there and you're seeing the same people a lot, which tells you a lot. And that kind of business turnover is incredible. But he seems to have employees that must find something that they like about that place because they're there, been there for a while.
And if you're treated well,
yeah,
you tend to stay. So I agree. There's a couple of places in town that I see that, and it's like they're doing something right. So,
yeah. And thank you to Chris over at Cigar and Culture. He's got specials going on, drink specials during the week, Christmas specials, gift cards, so even if you're not a big cigar person, you probably know somebody that is. Plus, they have a really nice bar, a good selection. It's a good place to do business. It's quiet. If you want to have a real business meeting there, they have a conference room. So they got the whole thing set up, and it's a very nice place to go.
It's another great organization that helps Harvest House.
Yeah,
they're very generous to us. I think they're doing part of our holiday drive right now.
Well, that doesn't surprise me one iota.
Or food drive. I can't remember which one, but they're doing something.
Well, that's Chris. I mean, that's the way he's been. He's a very civic-minded, generous person, and that's one of the things I like about the sponsors as a whole is that I not only can endorse their business, but I can endorse them as people. And I feel really good about that.
Right.
I don't have to shade anything because these guys are putting it out there for community, not just to, make a profit, but also to do the right thing by other people. Just like it's the next one here, Gala. Oh, no, Tiffany, I'm sorry. Tiffany Nico. Same thing. Tiffany Nico at Local Life, she's very involved in the community. The magazine came out last week or about 10 days ago. It's great as always. Mm-hmm. If you're looking for something in, in the community right now, look on locallifetx.com and you can find out what's going on in the community and with some of her advertisers. It's a great advertisement. 30,000 different 30,000 different homes get it. About 110 to 120,000 people get it. So I've seen it in businesses around. It's in Otto's place. It's in a couple of other retail places on the counter. So there you are. And I mentioned Gayla. She also is very involved in the community. They're busy. Robin works there, and it's very, very busy, she says. I mean, it starts off that way, and it just goes, particularly in the afternoon. And they're open on Mondays now. They're open right now. Normally, they're not open on Mondays, but they're open this Monday and next Monday. And they're open later. Usually, they're done by 5, but they're staying till 6, or, they'll stay until you're done. So Southern Gym over on top of the Windmiller building.
Another sponsor of Harvest House.
Yeah, well.
I just got to throw them out there. I mean, like you're doing it and they're doing it. I mean, they're all helping. So it's awesome.
Absolutely. That's what we like to hear. Gailey goes to our church. I know she's involved in that, the Promises charity as well that we had on Friday. Also, thank you to Michelle Humphrey over at Hotworks. 731, get yourself a workout, an infrared workout, 11 different options to choose from. So it isn't just one set thing. She also is involved in things. She was a recipient for Toys for Tots. She did a cancer fundraiser. She's also involved in the community as well. They want to give back to the community. Same with Melissa Harmon, my my insurance agent. Say it again. My insurance agent. 682-804-0534. Went to her for Texas Farm Bureau, and she saved me a little money. I know she's involved with a group in Fort Worth called Teen Challenge, which I had not heard of, but she's involved with that. And she'll be on the show sometime next month to talk about that. And also, we have the nonprofits. We have a bunch going on. We have this one going on starting today. We have at Rachel's Hope. It supports Next Step Women's Center. Boy, I'm really stumbling over the words. It's all this in your throat. I'll try it again. Rachel's Hope is having their 20th anniversary sale, and so they have things going on. Like today, the first 20 customers are going to get a voucher for $20, and then also tomorrow get some candy and treats and sweets, and also Wednesday 20% of all transactions, and Thursday you get to spin the wheel, and Friday get a grocery card giveaway. That'd be pretty good. And my wife actually went there one time. I bought a little house decoration. It's not just all clothes. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of stuff. She bought like a small lamp or something like that. So they have other things besides just clothing there. So Rachel's Hope helps support Next Step Women's Center. Also, do we still have, yes, there it is, Christmas ornament fundraiser for Re-Inspire over at Bennett's in Cleburne, or Accents over here in Burleson by the railroad tracks.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, you've been to Accents before. I bet everybody's been.
Beautiful.
Oh, it's
and they're so nice. To Harvest House.
Yeah, well, there you go.
They are.
What helps with Accents is I walked in there 2-3 times and they said, we got one of these bewildered and befuddled husbands. Let's take him around and show him. So they help us out. Well, I'm here to buy a gift for a woman, and like, I don't know what to get. And they said, well, who's the woman? And I'll give you something that's appropriate and tailored for that person.
That's awesome.
And so for $15, you can get a Christmas ornament to help with re-inspire. And Therese Olson does great work. I'm very impressed with them. Also, I think we have one more.
And I have to say, Bennett's also donated a bunch of cubicles to us a couple years ago.
And here's Center for ASD.
I'm going to keep throwing them out.
No, it's fine. That's good. That's great. Center for ASD. They need not so much stuff that Jennifer and Debbie Beeman need. They need paper plates, paper cups.
No, this week it was last week it was Lysol and cleaning stuff. Because they're trying to keep COVID and flu at bay. Right.
And so just those things, you don't even think about it. I mean, Lysol ain't cheap. And for them, I mean, they can probably buy it in bulk, but still, that money should be used for other things. That money needs to go to the clients of ASD, not for, Lysol. So we can pick up for that. So when you're by at Walmart or Sam's or City Market or whatever, grab yourself an extra can or extra stack of paper plates and drop it on by. It's over at the Crestmont Church. I think that's about it for the time being. We've had a bunch that already have gone by, like the Toys for Tots and all that. That was a big deal. But speaking of big deals, let's talk about Harvest House.
All right. We're a big deal.
Debbie Beeman from Promises was on Friday.
Yes.
And she says their client list, if you will, their needs have gone up quite a bit, almost by a double. Is that happening with you?
Yes, definitely.
Why do you think that is?
Well, the economy is really hurting and challenging a lot of people. Mm-hmm. There's just a lot. There's a lot going on. I was going to bring up our numbers because I just had them. But
now in the phone,
I know.
Mess with the phone.
I know. I was giving my numbers.
Oh, do you have them?
Yeah. So this month, I was trying to look at January, but November we served 722 families.
How many do you normally serve in a month?
Well, in January it was 425.
Okay.
So we have, just about doubled those numbers, and that's just in our food. So that doesn't count. So like the numbers that I run, I don't always the way we have to run it, but we've had a ton of people getting financial assistance, lot more than normal. Our challenge for next year is going to be that our budget for that section isn't quite as much now because giving is down about 30%. I know 30%. A lot of churches and other places are seeing that same thing. So, right now we're doing campaigns to help people know that, we need the assistance too, and to keep doing what we're doing. We're writing a lot of grants and trying to help support what we got going on.
One of the things that Debbie and I kind of postulated is that the stigma, if you will, of going to a place like Harvest House or Promises or other charity outfits is maybe not quite as big a deal as it used to be. In my generation, I'm much older than y'all. My generation, it was, we'd rather steal than ask for help, that kind of
Absolutely.
thing. Because it was almost like there's less stigma of being caught shoplifting than it would be for asking for help. I'm kind of joking,
I get it.
No, I just kind of. I mean, it's a deal for some people to say, "Look, I need help. Things have happened and I can't manage it." Do you think that maybe that self-consciousness is kind of going away?
I think sometimes, and I think people just get to the point where they don't have a choice. I mean, we're seeing a lot of that. People, I'd say the biggest, even as much or more than food, is the requests for housing help and utility assistance. Because really, we're seeing a lot of people who are struggling with paying their mortgages and rent because it's all gone up so much. So, in the past, you could get affordable housing somewhere and you could pay. I mean, I remember our first mortgage. My husband's was $880 a month. And then the first one that he and I got together, I remember it was $1,070. And I remember just thinking, are we ever going to pay that? And that was 20 years ago. But now it's hard to find something under $1,700, $1,800. So you make $15 an hour, because you can make that almost anywhere. But that's still really hard, especially if you're a single parent. And we've seen a lot since COVID, and I'm sure it's always been this way. We're just seeing kind of some different things, but just with mental health challenges with spouses and marriages, I mean, that's impacting, marriages staying together in a different way. And And I'm not judging it. I'm not there. We're just seeing a change. We've always had a lot of single parents, but we're seeing more like recently single parent. You know, like my spouse left, somebody passed away from COVID. I mean, it's a lot of different things.
You know, it's interesting though, because I used to teach this in my classes that there's certain social statistics that impact or are impacted by economic statistics. Absolutely, because when you have a situation where a community or an area is getting more and more unemployment, domestic violence goes up, divorce goes up, child abuse goes up, drug use goes up. All the negative factors go up when you have a negative thing happening in your economy. And that's sometimes, on a side note, why I get so irritated on my rants every now and then. Is because it's like we're being told, oh, the economy's great. And I said, no, it's maybe okay for me, but it isn't for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And y'all are testifying to that fact, because you're seeing a whole lot more of this. Not just food, but like you mentioned, help with the rent, help with the utilities, whatever else. And you only have that X amount of money, and you say giving is down. What do you think giving is down? Because of the economy? Or
I think so, because it's not that we're not necessarily down number of givers. It's the amount that's down. I mean, we're down some, but we're coming off of COVID, 2 years of COVID. So I anticipated a little bit of a decline in that just because, the emergency doesn't feel like it's there as much. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Even though it's still there, because it's different, and you were just saying about domestic violence and all of that. We actually I think it was 2018. That was one of the things we had done I had an intern and she did a deep dive into that, because my background is in child safety. And those are things, if you don't have food, if you don't have the money to pay for your house, if you don't have the money to pay for electricity, stresses in the house go up and abuse of all sorts go up. And so the flip side of that is, as people support organizations like ours, it does impact that. It helps parents decrease their stress. Because I don't think any parents really want to be abusers. But, I mean, we all lose our temper sometimes. And when you're under that much stress all the time, I'm absolutely not excusing it. So I just need to be super clear.
Right.
It's just it
happens.
It's a cause-effect thing. And so the more that we have organizations that can help, and we help people, Harvest House will pay for counseling. Harvest House will help find people jobs. We work with a lot of other organizations. Some of that stuff we don't do internally, but we try to get people the resources they need. If they don't have a car, there's places they can help find a car. That type of stuff, housing, all those, we try to connect them to help prevent those stresses. We can't fix it all, but with partners, we can do a lot.
Well, I'm not surprised, but I'm not kind of sad to hear that the giving is down. I mean, like you said, the economy does impact people, and the spirit may be willing, but the wallet may not be able to match
right.
it. And it's, when y'all are doing like your year planning ahead, do y'all factor in possible economic consequences?
Absolutely. And we always, like last year, we did project lower just because, but we're part of it, we're writing more grants and we're trying to do some things like that. But also, the resale store, the better that does, that's essentially a fundraiser for Harvest House. Those dollars go back into Harvest House. So I try to help people understand we're not just trying to make money there. The dollars that cover, our revenue from there post, our expenses and stuff for running a store like that, all of that goes back into our programs and stuff, and helping to make sure that we as an organization are sustainable, which sometimes includes salaries, sometimes includes things like that. But even after that, all of those dollars post operational costs come back to our organization. And that's part of why we did that, to help us more sustainable as the economy does this. We've been very busy. People have given us really great feedback on how they like shopping there. We're still new. We're not even quite 6 months old.
Right.
So there's still some things that we're working out. So sometimes if you're coming and like sharing our hours, things like that, but the one thing I will say is if people leave their stuff when we are closed, people steal it. So don't leave it unattended. It's considered dumping. We can't prosecute because we can't inventory it. And so all I can do is educate people. Don't leave it if we're not there. We have cameras and we turn it over to the police, and the police will do whatever they want with dumping or different things like that. But we have cameras of people filling up their vehicles with the good stuff that people left. And it's horrible. and we've posted on Facebook and stuff. But that is, I mean, beautiful doll houses and brand new things. And it's so frustrating. So all we can ask is that people don't donate after hours. Just hand it to a person. We've extended our hours. They're all on our website and stuff. But
how late are y'all staying open during the season?
Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, we take donations till 6:30. We close at 7, but we take donations up till 30 minutes before. And then Wednesday, Saturday till 3:30. You know, eventually that might change, but right now we have to also watch our operational costs.
Well, sure.
And can't be open. You know, that's part of our hours.
You're not Walmart, 24/7 or whatever.
No, and I wish we could be. I really do. I wish we could be open on Sundays, but right now the store has to make more before we can extend those hours and stuff like that. So.
That'd be interesting. Y'all be open on Sundays because a lot of them don't have access, and that's another thing that some of your peers in this profession, I guess, in the charitable professions, wish they could have more hours, but they don't have the money for the staffing. Like Promises isn't always open on Fridays, and it's not like the needs are held in suspension until Monday. They really want to expand their hours, but they only have so much they can work with.
We are open. So our resale store is open Monday through Saturday. If there's an emergency, they can help take care of somebody, but they don't have the access to everything. But our store, so our food is now open Tuesdays. We went back to pre-COVID hours, and we're open Tuesdays from 9 to 6. So if you work, we're trying to help people who are working. And then Fridays we close at noon. We're open from 9 to noon. And we shortened our hours a couple hours, but we're still open. And if somebody, like today I got a call, there was somebody with an emergency food thing. I said, yes, we'll help you. Just because we're closed, because we're getting ready for the week. If somebody comes with an emergency, we'll help them. We're not going to.
Right. It's, I'm sorry, we're closed. Boy, that would not look good. But you mentioned this before the show, and you've hinted at it pretty strongly during the show. One of the biggest problems Burleson is having is with homeless. That has not been a problem that, as far as I know, or at least it's not been a visible problem until recently. But I guess in your situation, you see it more often. Is homelessness really growing in this community?
I would. We're still not Fort Worth. I mean, it's not. I haven't known of homeless causing problems, quote unquote.
Right.
But there are homeless around more, and what that looks like is more people living in their cars. The homelessness. We're starting to see more people sleeping outside. That's
in Burleson.
In Burleson, and I know that we've worked with the police on a number of cases, helping make sure people have what they need. But there's just, you got city lines and county lines, and we don't have an actual homeless shelter here in Johnson County. We don't have any direct resources for homeless. I mean, there's some people who do some little things and stuff, and what they do is magnificent. So I don't mean to say little things.
Yes.
And we help as much as we can. And, we've partnered with the Tarrant County Homeless Coalition. We have some great resources that we can refer to people to. The hardest thing is getting there, because our police legally can't take somebody to a shelter because you're crossing legal lines, and that has nothing. Even if they want to, they can't. Same thing with like Fort Worth and stuff. So it gets challenging and tricky. We've had people, sleep in their cars on our property. We've only had one that was an issue and ended up becoming a health issue for her sake, and we ended up having to call the ambulance a couple times, and that was challenging because she had some mental health issues, and it was obvious, and we were trying to get her the help she needed, and ultimately we were able to call an ambulance and get her the help, but it still doesn't fix everything. And we can't.
Well, see, tomorrow with the mayor, I'm going to be asking him these questions. What will the city need to be doing in the future? Because you've said it, Debbie Beeman has said it, a couple other of the nonprofits have said it. Said this is something that as we get bigger, we get bigger problems. As we get more, part of the DFW community, we get more urban problems.
Yeah.
And maybe we had 10 years ago, we had people sleeping in their cars, but now it's noticeable.
Yeah.
You see people on the corners more often with signs. Now, sometimes they're in Fort Worth or in Crowley, but they're starting to, I've seen them in Burleson.
Yeah. They're still mostly on the Fort Worth side. You know, I usually walk by and drive by and give them a Harvest House card or something like that. You know, one of the things, you know, I don't generally give money just because I don't know what that's going to. But even our small group last night, and my kids and I have been talking about just having little baggies with food and water and things like that to help, you know. So
I know several people that do that.
And, you know, I'm not going to ignore you because I believe you're a great human. And so I will a lot of times give them information about Harvest House because they can walk there, and also just a bag of food or something like that.
Yeah, it just
socks.
It's a problem that we as a community are not going to be able to ignore a whole lot longer, because the people that are homeless sometimes have this characterization of being bums or whatever. But what we're seeing now are working people, working families that are becoming homeless because, like you mentioned, housing has become so expensive. That they're becoming homeless. These aren't, you know, derelicts we're talking about. We're talking about our neighbors.
And you have to remember, homelessness means they don't have a permanent address. So a lot of times they are living maybe at your house this week and your house next week, and they're not on the street or in their car, but they don't have a permanent place, and that is considered homeless. And that's just as difficult because maybe I can house somebody for a week or two, but I can't house them forever.
Right.
And, people, I mean, you see how families coming together, and you see the combination of those things. And I feel like people are doing that. I've known of people, hey, this family's here, but they can't stay past this date because they're moving. And then what do they do for a month? And, you know, before their apartment's ready. I mean, there's just so many challenges that it's just hard.
Well, I have Victoria Johnson on a week from tomorrow, next Tuesday. And I'll be asking her these questions as well. And because I've known Victoria for 30 years almost. Well, 20 years. I don't want to age her too much. No, but I had her as a student about 20 something years ago. But anyway, the point is I know this is something that she's been concerned about because she sees it. And she wants the city to do something they can. But, you know, what to do is not always so clear cut.
Right.
You know, because we could say, well, let's just build a homeless shelter.
But do you want your taxes to pay for that?
Yeah, or do you want that homeless shelter next to you or next to a school or whatever? Yeah, there's all those questions that we have to work through. But
and if they're homeless, they can't be out too far because then they can't get to work. They can't get to resources. So, you know, it's not just, let's go put it out in the country here. You got to be mindful of like jobs. I mean, do you want to rehabilitate them?
Or the kids' schools.
Absolutely.
Because, you know, again, people think of homeless sometimes as, you know, derelict sleeping in a car. But no, we're talking about like single mom with 2 kids and she couldn't afford the rent any longer or whatever the case was. And her kids go to our schools, you know, and you know, the meals they get there may be the only ones, you know, because I didn't see that in high school quite as much. But some of my elementary school teachers in certain parts of our community said they saw it more than I would.
Right.
You know, not every part of this community is equally blessed, you might say. And so there was, you know, they would see that a little more often. And it seems like for the most part, the families that are been displaced have younger children than teenagers. Right. At least that was just, I don't know if there's any connection there, but that's just been
I bet teenagers can go live with somebody.
Probably.
Where younger ones. We had one lady a couple of years ago. It was a couple of years ago. It was during COVID, I believe. And she had a toddler with her in the car sleeping in. And we were able to, we don't normally fix cars, but we were able to get her car roadworthy. And I think she was able to get to family somewhere else. And, you know, those are things that we try to look at. And Harvest House, one of the nice things is that we aren't structured in exactly what we can pay for.
Right.
We primarily don't do a lot of things, but there are occasions if we're able to verify all the details, and we work a lot with like the city and victims assistance, especially on cases like that where we are maybe help somebody get to their family in a different place, you know, but that's, I say it minimally just because I don't want people to think, oh, they do this, you know, because that can cause a whole bunch of problems. But there are circumstances that we can look at and say, man, if we were able to do X, then it would really solve problems, because we want to solve problems, not just put a Band-Aid on it, you know?
Right.
And that's, you know.
Have you and your peers gone to the city at like tonight there's a city council meeting. Have you gone to one of those type of meetings?
I have not at this point yet.
Have they said, but maybe make a presentation, get on the agenda and say,
well, and
look,
that's actually, I was telling you earlier that I had been speaking with Ken Shutter when he was still in office about this. And I actually just recently mentioned something to Chris Fletcher about, you know, I need to sit down and have a conversation about this, like what we're finding and stuff like that. So
I know he hears about it. because we mentioned this on the last show, and it's not like he's ignoring it. I know
No, I believe in a lot of their conversations. Some, it may not be the live conversations, but our mayor, our city council do care about this.
Oh yeah,
and it's like you said, it is not a cut and dried answer.
Right.
And so they're probably having to talk to other cities and communities. What are they doing? How are they handling it? Because it's not an easy solution.
Here's also something.
Talk to Crazy 8.
Talk to Crazy 8.
They'll tell you it's not easy,
Right.
And if you're really going to do it right, you can't do 100 people at a time. You do a set. And Crazy 8's another absolutely fantastic organization of rehabilitating lives. So
one thing that they may need to consider is also a community is not able to not have affordable housing. In other words, you can't zone your community in such a way that would prevent a certain type of housing coming up, or you'll be getting all sorts of trouble with the federal government. This happened. This was a big deal during the Obama administration, and this happened in my hometown of Plano because they had to have affordable housing, and a lot of people did not want that to happen because it hurt the property values, yada yada yada. But we may end up in a situation fairly soon where we're going to have to deal with it, and we're better off dealing with it on our own as opposed to being told how to handle it.
Yeah, and I know this has come up. I used to live over in Shannon Creek, and they were talking about apartments going in, and nobody likes the apartments, but but they have to go somewhere because not everybody can afford a mortgage, and there's, and I'm not bashing Shannon Creek. I'm sorry, that was just one example because there's others.
There's
all around the neighborhood.
There's several apartments that have been, shall we say, controversial.
Yeah, I just happened to live there at the time.
Yeah, so. But and when I say controversial, because they were. They were afraid that 10 years from now they'd be kind of dilapidated and whatever else and that kind of thing. And there's no, and I've talked about this with the mayor and I've shown way back that there's no real way to force a landlord to keep up.
There isn't?
Not to the degree that you want. Now, I mean, there's certain basic minimum standards, okay? But
see, that would be the thing. I'd be like, man, can that kind of change happen? Because nobody wants to live in.
There's certain basics like safety codes and all that, but as far as like maintaining the appearance and keep the paint up and make sure the
but
the
isn't that part
is
of
good.
City code like that you have to have?
I've just been told.
If my lawn gets this lot, I get a letter.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just things.
I've just been told it's not as it's not as easy as it sounds. Just to walk in and tell a landlord just to pick up his game.
Quit being a slumlord.
Yeah. There's, there are some things, and, this show probably took place about a year ago, so I don't remember all the details. I'll ask Chris that tomorrow, but.
Yeah. That makes sense to me,
it isn't like.
It's not an HOA.
No, HOA, which is, all these HOAs, I mean, they're intense. So when people get all over the mayor and others for not, supporting apartments. I get why we need them, but I also understand this is not a black and white issue. None of these issues ever are. If they were black and white, it'd be easy. But
it'd be fixed.
It'd be fixed. You like to think so. But one of the things I was talking about the food pantry, and Debbie was talking about this as well. Sometimes the supply chains are being a real problem. Has that been a problem for y'all?
Not too bad.
Not too bad. Okay.
No. We've got we have a pretty diversified resource. There have been a couple things. The biggest thing for us is our fresh meat. And it's not that it's not available. The price has just gone up to where we can't afford it with our donations and stuff to purchase like we used to.
Yeah. You buy in bulk, I'm sure. Do you buy through a wholesaler?
We do buy in bulk. Yeah, we've got a couple different places, and actually, for a lot of different reasons, and I don't want to get into it right now, is why we're not part of Ternary Food Bank. But I love Ternary Food Bank. That's
Tarrant County Food Bank?
The Ternary Food Bank, yeah.
Okay. Right.
So we just aren't a part of that. And so, but we have a vast diversity of places that we get food from. That does not mean that we don't get low on food, but occasionally we don't have certain things, but for the most part, it's not anything, our necessities. But our biggest thing is just having the funding to buy in bulk and all those other places, because we can get it usually, but the prices have doubled just like everything else for everyone else. Even the bulk prices are for, nonprofits. We're still paying more than we would have, a couple of years ago.
Debbie mentioned some of the things they're short on, and they go through a lot of peanut butter.
I was just going to say peanut butter.
Macaroni and cheese.
Yep. Ramen noodles.
Ramen noodles. And she mentioned one more.
Beans or breakfast?
Cereal.
Yeah.
Yeah, cereal items. Cheerios, I guess, and that kind of stuff.
That would have been those are our tops. The other thing we have is, I would add to ours, and I'm sure it's theirs too, but spaghetti and sauce.
Oh, yeah, she mentioned that too, yes.
Those are kind of some staple items that people like, and we prefer to provide, at least Harvest House, meat for that. So, and, one of the things we're looking at for next year is, trying to get more like frozen vegetables as opposed to can. Mm-hmm. Less sodium, a little bit healthier.
Right. Honestly, when I think of a food pantry, I think of cans and stuff like that, but y'all do have fresh meats. You do have dairy. And that's impressive to me. Yeah, actually, because I'm sure meat in particular is something that a lot of these people don't see on a consistent basis.
Well, and I think one of the hardest things for, I've had some complaints by people that are like, oh, we got all this bad food. And it's like, there's best by dates on the things that we have. And so people automatically assume if it's past the best by date that it's bad. Well, it's not. And I'm not going to say that, just like when you go to the grocery store, sometimes you get something and it should be okay, but it's not. Like, that happens. Okay.
Right.
But I've had to try to educate people. So you might get a can of something or a box of something that's past the date, even the dairy. But like, we had some chocolate milk that they ended up dumping out and it was going to salvage. But I had one, and like 3 weeks later, it was still good. But we dumped out probably a pallet full just because it was past the best by date of things, and we can't give it out anymore. And it's just hard because this is stuff that's not bad yet.
I was talking with Otto about this one time about food wastage. And
so sad.
It is. And he really does try his best not to waste food, not just because of, economic reasons, but for moral reasons. He feels bad if he has to throw out food that he can't serve, and he knows it's perfectly well to eat. It's just fine. And that,
it's so real. And it's like, and I hate it because people think, oh, we got this bad stuff. When we have signs up in our building that show people most canned vegetables can go like 4 or 5 years. There are some things that you can't, believe it or not, macaroni and cheese.
Really?
The cheese in it will go bad after 6 to 12 months.
Yeah, but the best buy date ain't 6 to 12 months, is it? It's like 2 months at best, right?
No, but their best buy date, then past that best buy date, it can go 6 months, 12 months. And anything with tomatoes in it. They break down faster, but usually use a little bit of quality. You're not going to get sick. You're not going to get hurt by it. But like a canned green beans, 5 years old, is going to have maybe less freshness, but it's not going to hurt you by any means. And that's kind of educating people because what we get, if it's donated from another organization, it's considered salvage. And I hate that word, but it is. But there's nothing wrong with it. And so we try to get rid of things that aren't good and keep those and make sure people get them.
Oh, it is striking to me in this country how much food we throw away, and we still have homeless and hungry people.
Yeah.
And it's not because of lack of generosity. It's because of government restrictions and FDA rulings and
people's mentality. I mean, because they think, oh, this is no good anymore. And it is.
When I pull something out of the refrigerator or a closet and it says Best Buy was last month, I open it up and eat it, because I know what you're saying.
But there are people who do not. And I get it. I mean, because they've been taught that that's an expiration date, not a Best Buy date. And that's why actually they changed. I don't know if it was FDA, USDA. Somebody changed it to Best Buy a number of years ago, probably. I think it was while I was working at Harvest House, but it switched it from expiration to Best Buy so that people wouldn't continue to throw it away.
Oh, well, can I blame Obama for that?
You can do whatever you want. I don't know who did it. I literally don't know who did it. So I'm not going to.
No, okay. But just saying, it really does drive me crazy when you have more than an abundance to take care of our people and people outside our country, yet because of these regulations and these stamps and whatever else, it just kills me. But, when I'm president, I'll change that. Okay.
Okay. When you're running.
Yeah. When I'm running, well, let's see. 24. I have to ask Robin. She has an opinion about these things. But but as far as other things, as far as the Christmas season.
Yes.
Is there anything specific going on for that?
Yes.
And
so right now we are actually we're doing Holiday Friends. We're collecting gift cards and toys. We've pretty much ended the collection, but if you brought it in today, we'd still accept it. Our event is on Thursday.
Where's that?
It's at the so if you haven't pre-registered, you can't come. But if you want to volunteer, it's the James Event Center down in Joshua.
Boy, that place is really bringing in the business, isn't it?
Well, they're hosting us. We're not actually paying anything. They reached out to us, and they
expression.
I know, but it was really neat because we've had our Harvest Feast there the last couple of years, and they're like, "What else can we do?" And they're like, "What about Christmas?" And we were moving it to a Thursday night, trying to make it a little bit easier for everybody to get there and stuff. So it'll run from 4 to 8. Families already have slots and things like that. So that's kind of a registration thing. So, but if people do have gifts that they want to donate, they can still donate at our building. You'd have to drop it off at this point, though, in our 106 Southwest Thomas location. It's end of year giving time. I know I have some videos and stuff I've given, but just to share a little bit about, we've really helped, let's see, I think it's 98 families from being evicted and losing their housing. I just had this number right in front of me, but we have helped so many people keep their electric and water on, gas, things like that. And we've only been able to do that because of the generosity of this community. And we're going to have some emails going out if anybody's interested in getting the data on what we're doing. They can go to our website, yourharvesthouse.org, and they can sign up for our newsletter. I believe it's under About. But we really want to be able to share the impact of how we're changing lives. In 2023, that's our big focus, is sharing the stories of families whose lives are being changed. And because, we're giving them food, you're giving them food, but when we start talking, like, what would you do without this? And how do you feel about Harvest House? It really can be life-changing. So,
well, Taylor, why don't you run a couple of the videos she brought with her? And there you go.
Why do you come to Harvest House?
Oh, I come for several reasons. One is the hospitality. Everyone is so nice here, and it seems like they don't judge us because, obviously we come here because we need help with food, and it's like they don't judge us. They just like, here, and I like the part that we get to go shopping and get what we want instead of them giving us food that we might not want, and that'll be wasted. So I like this idea that we are coming in to shop on our own, and I appreciate them, and I love them, and they're a blessing to me, and God bless everybody that's here, volunteers that are helping us. They're doing it at their own free time, and I want to let them know I do appreciate them.
Well, that's a pretty good testimonial right there. I mean, well spoken. And notice she was by the dairy aisle.
Yes, you saw the dairy behind her.
Yeah, well, I mean, just saying again, it's not like she said, not just a bag. Here's some couple of cans and some boxes and maybe a loaf of bread. It's they do have variety, and and Debbie's mentioned this also from Friday. The dignity of shopping is done that way, as opposed to handing them a bag like that to do in COVID, and probably all did too. But
we still do it some. There's certain hours we do it that way just because of volunteers and stuff. But our preference is that people shop, and actually we received the American Rescue Plan Act grant, and so that's what we're doing, our remodel of the main 349 Renfro building. And what's happening there is that you saw behind it, that was actually all the green beans. That wall is all going to be open, where our pantry is going to be bigger, and that we're going to be changing up how we do even our self-shopping, and we're really excited about it. But there's going to be just more opportunities for volunteering, more opportunities to shop. We do drive-through food, like I said a couple times. So Tuesdays from 2 to 6, and then Friday mornings, just as we're preparing for kind of the cleanup on Friday mornings. But people have the option to come Tuesday, Wednesday to self-shop. So it's kind of a mix based on what's happening. So if somebody can't or doesn't want to do it at this time, we do offer that self-shopping. And if somebody has special needs for food and stuff, we'll always give them their choice too.
Well, just that, it really is something that preserves the self-image, I guess, the
Absolutely.
self-esteem of the person, because they're making choices as opposed to just being handed something. I think that's a great thing.
And I'm really hoping that soon we'll be 100% all the time choice shopping, but with our reconstruction, I think that'll happen.
You never know.
You never know.
What's the next one?
So I just wanted to say real quick, Harvest House, these people that are out here are doing such a thankless job that I want to give my great appreciation that they're making sure that kids that don't have anything are actually getting a Christmas. It's very respectful to know that people who know that are going to get complaints, and they're going to have people complaining about being in line, and people that are doing things that just probably ain't very comfortable, but it's free things for your kids. They are literally caring about children that are not theirs. And so I just wanted to reach out and say thank y'all very much. God bless y'all. I hope y'all have a wonderful Christmas, and just keep up the good work.
Was he a volunteer or?
No, it was a family.
A family. Okay.
That was a family.
Okay. And you kept a mask on to keep his identity secret, huh?
No, that was actually during 2020. So.
Oh, okay. But
Well, that was our COVID option. I was trying to see. I was still getting videos when you called me.
Oh, okay.
Hey, why aren't you here?
Hey, well,
It's okay. I dropped the
vast listening
ball.
audience
I dropped the ball.
No, they're hammering
but
me.
yes.
You know, the sponsors are yelling at me. No, they're not.
I know.
But anyway, I think we have one more that's about a minute long.
I think it's another Christmas one.
Okay.
Yeah, this is great. I have 3 kids. The youngest is 8 and the oldest is 19. So yeah, I have hard to buy for children. So this is so good that I get to pick it out for them to be specific to each child. That's awesome. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Look at those beanbags. My daughter would love that. These are happy volunteers and staff. Hey, happy volunteers and staff. Hi, happy volunteers. Hey, you want to say anything?
Yeah, thank y'all for your help and finally get to get my kids actually what they've been asking for Christmas this year.
Oh, that's fun. That is fun. What does that mean to you to like be able to get what they ask for?
It means everything.
Awesome. I'm just going to show you. You want to move your voucher? I don't need to share your name on here.
Yeah.
Awesome. Look at all this awesome stuff. Thank you, donors. Harvest House isn't doing this. Our donors are doing this. We're just the vessel. Look at all these awesome things. I know these Nerf guns and stuff are expensive, so thank you.
That's very impressive. I mean, I'm sure that mother, the mask hit her emotion, because to have your kid get what they want for Christmas, I mean, when they're 8 or 7, they may not understand what's going on in the economy and all this other business.
Well, and a lot of times people want to give a toy or things like that. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. But as a parent, for me to be able to get my child what they really want. So we actually have moved to doing gift cards, and then like this year was board games, and we have some other toys too, but we really want the 2 goals of ours is to like for a parent to be empowered to get what they want for their children, and the second is to create family engagement. So the board games, so family games, things like that, to try to really, because we get so busy. I mean, my family is the same way, and when we got a new game and we went on a vacation, it was so fun to play that, and you forget like how fun and necessary it is, because we have so much technology, to like set it all aside and spend time together. And I know some people have a hard time doing, gift cards for families. And, the thing is we have to trust parents to be the parents they want.
Right.
Like I want somebody to trust me. And now the Walmart cards we get, you can't buy alcohol and tobacco with, but I'm going to tell you, most of those parents, I'm sure there's 1 or 2 that aren't, but most of the parents who come and are signing their kids up for Christmas is because they want to bless their family. They want to be a normal parent. And we too often when we give, put a judgment and an expectation on it. And we need to give and say, you know what? I trust you as a parent to do the best thing for your family. If I give you a Walmart gift card and you get an oil change, I'm not going to be angry with you. But
that's you needed the oil change.
Because if that means, or tires, because that's how they get to work. And I guarantee you we're not giving them enough to do that. But if that helps, I say a toy is not fun if you're hungry.
Right.
Period.
Right.
And so by giving a gift card, it allows our families to do what they need to take care of their families. And 99.9% of them are going to go buy that toy. And it was really cool that year. Like there was a family, they must have saved a little extra money too, but they went and got bunk beds. I mean, and the kids were so excited,
Right.
and they had these beautiful new beds, and like that's not something we had ever gotten our toy drive.
Well, no.
So that was really cool.
So people listening to this show, either now or later on podcast or Facebook, YouTube, etc., how can they help with this endeavor?
Well, even if they're led to give and they want to give, you can give to Harvest House, just to our general fund. If you give to Holiday Friends, even now, even if we'll either fill gaps or it will allow us to get a head start on next year. That's the only other thing, because those dollars would remain in Holiday Friends, because it's hard sometimes to collect items right when you need it, as opposed to having something ahead of time so you can buy things in bulk and you can do those, because those take time. But really, everything is earmarked if it's come. But if you want to give right now, and you want to volunteer, our event is Thursday night, and you can email Glynis at yourharvesthouse.org. That's GLYNIS at yourharvesthouse.org. If you have an interest in volunteering, and if we don't have a volunteer spot, we have plenty of spots at Harvest House in many, many ways. And we'd love to get you involved. We do stuff all year round. This is just, the holidays is a really nice and easy time to like, hey, I want to do something, but we have need all year. Summer's coming, then we have back to school, and then we have our food drives, and there's a lot happening. And we have some fundraising events. We have a fundraising committee if you're interested in being on that, or even our program committee, which is Little Red Schoolhouse, Holiday Friends, that kind of stuff. And just reach out. It's harvest@yourharvesthouse.org is our general mailbox, and it will get to the right person if you have interest in any of those things. If you want to donate, yourharvesthouse.org/donate. And we are finishing, I guess we just finished up last week. We had a matching grant when we did meet that. I think we exceeded it, so I got to go look at that number. But like I said, giving is 30% down in 2022, and we'd like to end this year flush with our goals. And so if you are interested, if you want to see what we're doing construction-wise, call me. I'm more than happy to show you around and give you the vision, because, sometimes before you give, you want to understand where those dollars are going. And we try to be as transparent as possible, because we want people to trust us and feel good about giving. Donating to the resale shop is amazing. Shopping at the resale shop's even better.
Well, it is. There's things there I've seen that would, like for a young family, or getting their first apartment for a college student, or, just moved into a house, and I mean, some quality stuff there.
I'm telling you, there was this furniture there the other day. It looked brand new, and it was really nice. And I'm like, can I buy that for my house?
Right. It's quality material.
Yeah. People are donating nice stuff.
One of the benefits of this podcast I do is I get to meet people like yourself and others in this community. And I'm just overwhelmed in the last few weeks. Yourself, Promises, Toys for Tot, Center for ASD, Next Step Women's Center, Hope Not Leave Anybody Out, Re-Inspire, Crazy 8, on and on and on.
Fitability is another one.
Fitability, right. It just amazes me how many people in this community are there to work for the community. And I'm appreciative of your efforts. I'm appreciative of their efforts. And I'm grateful to live in a community that has this kind of community support. So thank you all.
The neatest thing I would say, being a nonprofit leader, is that everyone you just named, we work in conjunction with, not in competition with. There's enough money and there's enough donors in this community to support us all. And somebody might say, you know what, Crazy 8's my gig, not whatever you are. And that's okay. I mean, Harvest House needs help. Promises needs help.
Everybody could use
Center
the
for
money.
ASD. But you know what?
Yeah.
But it's okay. And we work together and provide resources and support to one another. And I think that's unique. I think that just goes and makes Johnson County and Burleson even more unique. I mean, some of those are in Cleburne and Joshua and stuff, but the reality is I feel like I love all of those people. I love what their missions are, and I feel like they would say the same thing about Harvest House. And
well, they absolutely, when you were here part of that show back in late September,
Oh, yeah.
and y'all were all the ladies over there. There's about maybe 8 or 9, and y'all knew each other, and y'all were happy for each other, and y'all didn't say, think one time that, well, $1 for them is not $1 for me. It never came up like that at all.
No.
It was always like, it really was like a unified team effort. I was really impressed by that fact. I was just watching how y'all interacted with each other when I was either talking to somebody or schmoozing with Taylor. I mean, y'all genuinely care for each other and their enterprises.
And I know that
great.
I give to some of those organizations, and I know that some of those give to ours. And as organizations, sometimes we support their organization and they support ours. Like sometimes they bring volunteers. Sometimes we provide food for their, like Center for ASD. Sometimes we provide food for their family nights, and clothing for foster kids coming in, re-inspire. I mean, most of them have accounts at Harvest House, so if they need something, they can come and get it. And they, in turn, do various things to support us in what they do, and I just love it. I'm writing grants, trying to get, like, especially with like Center for ASD, trying to be able to hire some of their participants so they can have jobs and stuff. And that's just amazing. That's more than just us doing something. That's partnering with them, good. and that's some of the things that they do too, to help benefit us, because they'll come and volunteer, and it's just a special community, and they're special leaders, and they have amazing missions. I wish I could support them all.
So do I, but I need about 19 more sponsors to be the kind of big shot I think I am.
I know.
But
$10, $5 a month to each of those organizations really does make a difference to those organizations. You don't have to give $100. I mean, if you think, man, I'd give $120 to this organization, I can't do it now. Okay, that's $10 a month. If you break down what you really wish you could give, can you give that if you break it down by 12 and become a recurring donor? And for all of us, I would tell you, I would rather have a $10 a month donor that I know I'm going to get than one, than nothing. And also just $5 does make a difference. It really does. And all the way up to thousands, it makes a difference. So don't ever feel like your donation is too small. And if you can donate food, or if you can donate clothes, or whatever, like right now, the Center for ASD needs Lysol. Paper goods. If right now Re-Inspire is selling ornaments for $10, $15?
15.
Go and then support those businesses that are, buy something from the business too that's, helping support that. So that's how this is win-win for all of us.
If people think it's just a drop in a bucket, that's how buckets get filled.
Yep.
It's drops
One drop at a time.
I appreciate you being here.
Yeah,
thank you, Taylor, for your ambidextrous technological skills.
Always.
And tomorrow, like I said, I have the mayor on. I'm going to grab him by the shirt and say, "What are you doing about this?" Well, not really. He'll be pleasant as always. If he's hearing this now, he's like, "Well, I may just be busy tomorrow."
He's in meetings all day. I just saw him this morning.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. No, but we're talking about this tomorrow.
He's getting ready for city council tonight.
Oh boy. Okay. Thank you, Jennifer, for all you do.
Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.